Welcome to Crime Podcastle Unsolved Mystery Series, Episode 25.
Oh, wow. Already episode 25?
I know, right?
Time flies.
It really does.
When you're having fun.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into a case
Oh, okay.
that's going to stick with you guys.
All right.
For a while, I think this is a really
good.
interesting one.
I like those.
Yeah, the disappearance of Sarla Bhandari.
Okay.
So picture this. It's 2008.
Okay.
You're a young woman
Mm-hmm.
living in India.
Okay.
You tell your family you're running some errands, and then
And
you're never seen again.
Wow.
That's Sarla's story.
Yeah, that's the kind of case that really gets under your skin, you know?
Yeah.
Just the ordinariness of it all.
It really could happen to anyone.
Yeah, it really could.
So who is Sarla Bhandari?
Right.
You know, more than just a name.
Yeah.
And a missing persons report. What was her life like before she vanished?
Well, from what we know, she was 21 years old, close to her family, seemingly content with her life, you know? And there are these stories that we've come across from people who knew her talking about how she had this infectious laugh and she had this passion for helping others.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she volunteered at a local community center. She taught kids how to read. And it's these little details, you know, that really bring her to life.
Yeah.
You know, she wasn't just a statistic. She was a vibrant young woman with hopes and dreams. And then poof, she's gone.
Like she stepped out of a photograph and left behind an empty frame.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's rewind to March 7th, 2008.
Okay.
The day Sarla vanished.
All right.
Walk us through what we know about that day.
Well, it started like any other day, you know?
Yeah.
Sarla told her family she was heading out to run some errands, you know, maybe pick up some groceries, visit a friend.
Yeah, just normal stuff.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
But then evening rolled around and she didn't come back and her family started to worry.
I bet that worry quickly turned to panic.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
They started calling her mobile phone. It went straight to voicemail.
Oh, no.
Hours turned into a sleepless night, and by morning they reported her missing to the police.
So that's when the official investigation begins.
Right.
What direction did the police take initially?
Well, they've followed standard procedure, you know.
Oh, okay.
Interviewed family members, friends, neighbors, anyone who might have seen Sarla that day. They scoured her usual routes, checked local hospitals, even searched her home,
Okay.
looking for any signs of a struggle or forced entry.
Any leads, anything at all?
Frustratingly, no.
Wow.
It was like she vanished into thin air.
Really?
No witnesses, no signs of a struggle, no messages, no demands, just an empty space where a vibrant young woman used to be.
So we have this perplexing disappearance with absolutely no clues.
Yeah,
In those initial stages, it's enough to make your head spin.
it really is.
Where do investigators even begin to untangle a mystery like this?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
In cases like this, investigators have to consider all possibilities. Mm-hmm.
And that leads us to the various theories surrounding Sarla's disappearance.
Okay, so let's dive into those theories then.
Sure.
The first one that always seems to come up in these cases is kidnapping.
Right.
Is that a viable option here?
It's certainly a possibility, especially given the circumstances.
Okay.
However, there are some key elements missing that typically accompany a kidnapping.
Like what?
Most importantly, there was no ransom demand.
Oh,
No one contacted the family asking for money in exchange for Sarla's safe return.
okay.
And there were no reports of suspicious individuals lurking around the area at the time of her disappearance.
Interesting.
So those are pretty big red flags.
Yeah, or rather, the lack thereof.
Exactly.
Okay, so kidnapping, while initially a possibility, becomes less likely given the absence of those telltale signs.
Right.
What about another angle, human trafficking? I know that's a serious issue in India.
You're absolutely right. Human trafficking is a horrific reality, and sadly, young women are often the targets.
Yeah. Investigators definitely explored this angle, but again, they hit a wall. There was simply no evidence linking Sarla to any known trafficking rings or activities. No leads, no sightings, nothing concrete to connect her to that world.
So 2 possibilities examined,
Mm-hmm.
but neither quite fitting the puzzle pieces we have.
Yeah.
Is there another theory that was explored?
Well, there is the idea that maybe she disappeared on her own.
Oh, so like a voluntary disappearance?
Exactly.
Did investigators look into that?
They did,
Yeah.
but it's a theory that Sarla's family, you know, they strongly refute it.
Okay.
They maintain that she had absolutely no reason to run away. She was happy, had a close-knit family, and was looking forward to the future.
So from their perspective, it just doesn't add up.
Exactly. And there's another element that makes this theory unlikely.
Okay.
Sarla left all of her belongings behind.
Really?
Her passport, her clothes, her personal items, everything was still at her home.
Interesting.
If she was planning on starting a new life somewhere else, wouldn't she have taken at least some essential items with her?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
It
Yeah.
makes that theory seem less and less plausible.
Yeah.
So we've examined 3 possibilities:
Right.
kidnapping, human trafficking, and voluntary disappearance.
Mm-hmm.
And each one has its own set of inconsistencies
Yeah.
or holes.
Yeah.
Is there another theory that investigators considered?
There is one more, and it's the most unsettling of them all.
Okay.
The possibility that someone close to Sarla might be involved.
Someone she knew, someone she trusted.
Precisely, someone familiar with her routines, her habits, her vulnerabilities.
Oh, wow.
Someone who could potentially make her disappear without raising suspicion.
That's a chilling thought.
It is.
But if that were the case, wouldn't there be some sort of evidence pointing to a specific person?
Well, you would think so, but sometimes these cases hinge on the smallest details.
Yeah.
A missed clue, a misinterpreted piece of information. And remember, this was back in 2008.
Right.
Investigative techniques weren't as advanced as they are today.
That's true. We take things like DNA analysis and widespread CCTV footage for granted now.
Right.
But back then, those tools were either not readily available or not as sophisticated.
Exactly.
It makes you appreciate how much forensic science has evolved.
It really does.
So in Sarla's case, the lack of those forensic advantages further complicates an already perplexing situation.
Absolutely.
It's like trying to solve a puzzle in the dark.
A perfect analogy, and adding to the complexity is the passage of time.
Oh, yeah.
The longer a case remains unsolved, the colder the trail becomes. Witnesses' memories fade, evidence deteriorates, and the chances of finding that one crucial piece of information diminish.
It's heartbreaking to think about the toll this must take on Sarla's family.
Yeah.
To have no answers, no closure, just this gaping hole in their lives where she used to be.
The not knowing is often the hardest part.
Mhm.
The constant wondering, the endless what-ifs, the guilt of not having done more,
Yeah.
it can consume you.
It's a stark reminder of how fragile life is.
It really is.
And how quickly everything can change. One minute you're going about your day and the next you're gone, leaving behind a ripple of unanswered questions and shattered lives.
That's the human element at the heart of these mysteries. It's not just about solving a puzzle. It's about understanding the profound impact these events have on real people, families, communities.
And it reminds us that while we may never have all the answers,
Mm.
the search for truth, for justice should never end.
I agree.
Even if it's been years, even if the trail has gone cold, there's always hope that someone will emerge to shed light on the darkness.
Yeah, I hope so.
We've spent this episode kind of digging into the disappearance of Sarla Bhandari,
Yeah,
exploring these different theories.
right.
But like a lot of unsolved mysteries,
Yeah.
we end up with more questions than answers.
That's the frustrating reality.
It really is.
We gather the evidence, we analyze the facts, we develop theories, but sometimes that truth just remains elusive.
Yeah, so let's take a moment and kind of revisit some of those theories.
Okay.
We've talked about kidnapping, which initially seemed possible, but there was no ransom demand, no suspicious individuals.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that theory after everything we've talked about?
It's definitely a theory that raises more questions than it answers. The absence of a ransom demand is particularly puzzling.
Yeah.
Kidnappings, they're often financially motivated,
Yeah.
so why wouldn't the perpetrator contact the family?
Right, like did they panic or was there another motive?
Exactly.
Like something more sinister than money?
Yeah, and that leads us to another possibility, human trafficking.
Right.
Given how prevalent that is in India, it's a theory that investigators had to consider.
But again, there's no evidence to directly link her to any trafficking rings or activity.
Right. It's like she disappeared without leaving a single trace
Yeah.
in any of those criminal networks.
Yeah, it's like a frustrating dead end.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, is there we're missing some connection that hasn't been made yet?
Yeah, and then there's the idea of a voluntary disappearance. Her family strongly denies that.
Yeah.
But, it's something you can't completely rule out.
True. People do choose to vanish, to start new lives, to escape their past.
But usually there's a trigger in those cases, right?
Exactly. Some sort of financial crisis or a relationship breakdown or something that pushes them to make that decision.
And with Sarla, there's no indication of any of that.
Right.
She was content with her life-loving family.
Mm-hmm.
No reason to just walk away.
Right.
So that kind of brings us back to that most unsettling theory,
Right.
someone close to her.
Yeah, the possibility that someone close to Sarla might have been involved, it's difficult to grapple with, but it's one that investigators often have to consider.
It's heartbreaking
It really
to
is.
think that someone she trusted could be responsible for her disappearance. But then again, we've talked about this. There's no concrete evidence to support that.
And that's the frustrating reality of this case.
Yeah.
We're left with this web of possibilities.
Wow.
Each one is perplexing as the last.
Yeah, it's like we're piecing together a puzzle, but there are missing pieces.
Yeah.
We can see the outlines, the potential image.
Right.
But we can't quite grasp the full picture.
And that's where our listeners come in.
Oh.
You know, we've presented the facts, we've explored the theories.
Yeah.
Now it's up to you to decide what you believe happened to Sarla Bhandari.
Maybe one of our listeners with a fresh perspective
Yeah.
will spot something we've missed.
Exactly.
Make a connection that unlocks this mystery.
It's possible.
Yeah. So to all our listeners out there, if you have any thoughts, any theories, any information that might shed light on this case, please reach out to us.
Yeah, even the smallest detail could be the key to bringing some closure.
Exactly. And even if we never find those definitive answers, it's important to keep Sarla's story alive, to remember her, and to honor the strength of her family and friends who continue to search for the truth. That's a really powerful message. We may not be able to solve every mystery, but we can ensure that these stories are never forgotten. And who knows, maybe one day the truth will surface and Sarla's family will finally get the answers they've been looking for so long.
I hope so.
And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow and subscribe to CrimePod Castle
Yes.
for more deep dives into the world of unsolved mysteries.